Breaking through your limits. We all grow up believing that there are limits to the things we can achieve. These limits stem from your interaction with friends, family, peers, and even the media. You believe you can't talk in front of a crowd because you're an introvert. You believe you can't help paint a community mural because you're not creative. You believe you'll never have success because it's just not in your blood. All of these things are completely false, and what's worse, part of us knows they're false. But it's easier to hold on to limiting beliefs like comfort blankets. I'm going to teach you what breaking limits means, how to find your limiting beliefs, and a technique to help you keep breaking those limits so you can finally achieve what you really want in life. What's a limiting belief? A limiting belief is a thought you have about yourself that you believe to be true but is actually holding you back. This belief is called a belief because you believe it. Limiting beliefs are not excuses, they're things you've believed for years because you've been influenced to believe them. Ever had a teacher say you're not learning quick enough? I bet you now believe you're a slow learner. Ever had a parent call you shy? I bet you now struggle in social situations. Even the media can shape how we think and feel about ourselves. So now we know what a limiting belief is, we can work on breaking them. What does breaking limits mean? Limiting beliefs don't belong in your life. If there's something you want to do or try and a limiting belief is holding you back, then it's time to literally break your limit so you can get on with doing it. Just like breaking a bad habit, when you break your limits, you're recognizing them, acknowledging they exist, and then you're taking them apart, breaking them so they no longer represent the limiting beliefs you once had. Sounds complicated, but let's get on with it, shall we? How to break your limits. Let's do this in a step-by-step process, so get ready with your first limiting belief. 1. Recognize and acknowledge your limiting belief. Your limiting belief wasn't created overnight. The likelihood is that you've been holding on to it for years. Just like bad habits, you're not going to be able to break your limit within a few days. It's going to take some work and self-belief to get there. So at this stage, recognize your limiting belief for what it is, how it got there, and how you feel about it. Write it down if it helps you to process. 2. Reframe your limiting belief. Now that we recognize our limiting belief exists and where it came from, it's time to shift our thinking. Reframing your limiting belief simply means shifting the words you use when you talk about it to become positive. The goal here isn't to change your limiting beliefs into ridiculous statements which seems completely out of reach. A simple and realistic shift in your mindset is the perfect place to start breaking your limits. You can always go bigger down the line. How to motivate yourself to keep breaking limits. So now we've gone through how to break your limits, it's time to take a look at how to motivate yourself to keep breaking limits. Breaking a limit doesn't end when you change the way you talk about it. This is where it only really begins. To keep breaking limits, you'll need to start taking action. Just like when we reframed our limiting beliefs, we'll want to keep this simple. If you start planning to take massive action, the likelihood is, you won't keep it up. Breaking limits into short tasks. In order to really start breaking limits, you'll want some quick wins. So write down 4 things that you can do over the next week to start breaking that limit. Make these tasks as small as possible and make sure one of them you can do today. By breaking it down this small, the tasks become much more manageable and you'll be able to see progress immediately.